wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
This week, we're talking about risk. The innovators who moved human history forward all had one thing in common. They were willing to take risks. Early man who discovered fire? That guy took a risk. The Polynesian navigator who first carved a wooden canoe pushed it out into the open Pacific and said, "Let's go see what's out there." Big risk. The Wright brothers strapping themselves to a bicycle with wings and throwing it into the sky? Yeah, also a risk. And Katherine Johnson, the brilliant NASA mathematician whose orbital calculations helped put astronauts into space, that involved a lot of risk too. Human civilization, it turns out, has always been advanced by people willing to risk their lives and reputations on things that probably shouldn't have worked. And today, on the Garbage Barge, we're saluting these innovators while also examining a different kind of risk. Not the brave kind that moved humanity forward, but the unbelievably dumb and dangerous things Kat and I did as a kid, completely unsupervised. Which leads to the only logical question: how are we still alive?
Get on the boat, weirdos.
So this is the part of the show, Kat, where you usually say something outrageous, and then you just force me into my history lesson. But I'm on to you, okay? Lady, I'm going to just put it out there. What is it this week? What are you going to spring on me?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. I'm really looking forward to your history lesson, and I'd especially love to hear more about Katherine Johnson.
Really? Nothing crazy? No Miss Cat breadcrumbs to drop? No little tease?
Darwin, the people you mentioned deserve to be honored, and I don't want to step on that.
Okay.
But I do want to mention that in the 8th grade, my best friend and I hiked down a cliff in the middle of the night to go on a date with the janitor of our middle school.
Yep, there it is.
My homie Darwin, he's got a master's degree in history. So here's his lesson. Yo mama, word.
Katherine Johnson, born in 1918, was an American mathematician whose calculations helped make some of the earliest and most important U.S. space missions possible. She worked for NASA during the early years of the space race, when the U.S. and Soviet Union were racing to achieve major milestones in space at a time when segregation was the norm in the South and other parts of this country, and she was faced with a lot of discrimination. But before modern computers were powerful enough, there were people like Katherine. Katherine was part of a group of mathematicians known as human computers, which is a job neither of us would ever qualify for ever. 2 + 2 is yellow, performing extremely complex trajectory calculations by hand. It's true, Kat.
That's my answer, too.
Her work, there was a lot of technical risk, enormous risk. Early space missions had almost no margin for error. And if the math was wrong, an astronaut could literally burn up in re-entry or miss Earth entirely, and we would lose one of our heroes. So in 1961, her calculations helped Ellen Shepard be the first American to go into space flight. And in 1962, John Glenn refused to fly until Johnson personally checked the computer's orbital calculations for Friendship 7. Which is really just saying so much about what a wonderful person she was. And her work also supported the missions that led to Apollo 11, of course, the moon landing in 1969. And her contributions just for decades have gone largely unknown until her story reached a wide audience through one of my favorite films of all time, Hidden Figures. And sadly, Katherine passed away after a very, very long and wonderful life at the age of 101 in 2020. So, while brilliant minds like Katherine Johnson were calculating how to send humans into space, Kat, you were hanging out with the janitor?
All right. Well, it feels kind of wrong to go from Katherine Johnson to my extremely bad middle school judgment, but here we are. I'm going to change my friend's name in this story because this is so embarrassing and we're still great friends and I just want to keep it that way.
Okay, that's probably a good call.
Yeah, let's call her Nina. So Nina was funny and smart and cool, and I just loved hanging out with her, and I still do. And one day, the bell rings, and we're heading off the PE field. And we're just two 8th graders talking, and we're walking by the janitor's lair office. It was like the teacher's lounge, but with mops. So the door wasn't usually open, but on this day it was. So we peek in, and this dude comes out and says, "How are you ladies today?"
It's like all suave like that. Okay.
Fine. In this, Darwin, this was the 80s, but this guy was a 70s relic holdover. Okay, so picture he had blonde, feathered hair, brushed back. He had a bushy mustache and an OP shirt with palm trees on it. And then he lays this one on us. He says, "So if you ladies want to come by later to hear some good tunes, I'll be here. By the way, they call me Pirate."
Pirate? What a loser. So I'm hoping, I know this is wrong based on your breadcrumb, that you maybe called your parents right away.
No, my parents, they probably didn't even know where my school even was. They didn't know anything about me. So Nina and I, we went back after lunch finished, and Pirate drops a cassette into his boombox, and suddenly we're listening to the best of Bread. I Want to Make It With You.
What? I just can't. All right. So as soon as you heard that, did you run? Because that's pretty horrifying.
Well, we tried to play it cool, so cool that.
Okay, but how did you end up on a cliff with him?
All right.
How does Bread get you on the cliff?
Okay, flash forward. We keep going by the janitor hut every day, and somehow Pirate convinces us to hang with him in real life. So here's the plan. Nina sleeps over my house. And the plan is to jump over my fence at 2 a.m. and meet him up the street to go hang out someplace cool. And that's all we knew.
Right now, you are nowhere near qualifying to be a rocket scientist or even I can't, Kat. This is how old were you?
This was the risk I took. This was 8th grade, so I was 13. So
oh my God.
he's parked up the street, and he blinks his lights. And we walk closer and closer, and we get in his car. And I really want to say it was an AMC Pacer. And I don't remember what kind of car it was, but I do know that it was a broken down Heat. So
it was just a piece of crap. Okay.
Yep. So we start heading toward the cliffs in Palos Verdes, where I grew up. And there are these beautiful cliffs overlooking the ocean.
Okay, so nothing could go wrong here at all. No horror movie would start off this way.
Right, especially at 2 a.m. And there's cans of Miller Lite in the car. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty grown up, but I'm also feeling a little worried. So we get to the cliff's edge, drink some beer, and Pirate says, "Let's hike down." And he clicks on a flashlight. So Nina and I look at each other in horror, but we're still kind of playing it cool. But she's the voice of reason. And she says, Pirate, we should probably go. And to his credit, he did not make us a Dateline episode. He drove us back to my house. Well, actually, not really, because he dropped us off 2 blocks away and we walked back. Okay.
This is horrifying.
Well,
so you walked back. Okay.
Yeah. And when we came in, my mom was sitting there in her chair. And remember when I said we jumped the fence? We were such dinglings. We didn't need to do that. I could have just unlatched it quietly and walked right through. It wasn't locked. The sound of us falling over the fence, clunk, clunk, the fence, which was right outside my parents' bedroom, woke her up.
You were busted.
And we were so busted.
Did you tell her you were out with Pirate?
Oh, fuck no. No, just being out in the middle of the night was bad enough. I mean, we even made our little beds, in the movies, with a lump that's supposed to look like people.
Yeah. Oh, well, you went all the way.
We went all the way. We were committed. And my mom at first went, "Oh, they're sleeping." And then she's like, "Why are there 9 weird lumps in Catherine's bed?" So
you were looking lumpy.
I was too lumpy. So she, threw the covers back and saw that it was a sleeping bag and a poncho, and it wasn't like a human. So I was grounded for 2 weeks, but here's the amazing part. My mom never told Nina's parents, and to this day, Nina brings up how much she loved my mom for that.
Okay, so your mom was pretty cool, and that was pretty cool for her to be like.
Yeah.
Now, if you had mentioned pirate, it would be a whole different outcome.
That
right?
would have been totally different.
Yeah, whatever happened to pirate? Did you follow his career through the custodial world?
I'm glad you asked, because about 10 years later, Nina and I heard that he got busted in Reno for armed robbery. And I Googled him this morning. I know his real name, and he passed away in 2020. So R.I.P. Pirate, and thanks for not killing us.
Yeah, I was thinking about our childhood the other day, or mine and yours, because you said we were going through what episode are we going to do? And I said, well, I got to go back. And I realized, and this is not an insult to our parents at all, our parents didn't raise us. They just let us outside and hope we'd figure it out. Is that an accurate statement?
Exactly.
So growing up, and we're slightly a few years off, so you might have had the same or similar dangers, but I think we overlap here. And I was thinking about, what was the biggest threat to my safety as a kid? Supposedly it was quicksand. Was that a thing? Yes.
Yes.
So not actual quicksand. Have you met anyone who's ever encountered quicksand?
No, but I was terrified of quicksand because I would just watch TV and it's like, quicksand, you're going to fall in it. And yeah, it was a threat.
Yeah. In the 80s and 90s, quicksand was apparently lurking everywhere. And we were genuinely prepared for it. Like, we practiced what we would do if we got stuck in quicksand with our friends. We would play and like throw, a belt or a shirt, you know what I mean? And we would try to do that. But meanwhile, we're out there riding bikes with no helmets or 3 kids in a 2-person seatbelt, and nobody's concerned about that.
I would also like to submit killer bees into state's evidence, because on the news, there were actual killer bee maps, and you'd see like this animated swarm around Panama with arrows, and they're heading up toward the U.S.
Now at 11, we're hearing tonight from one of the men who survived an attack by as many as 100,000 killer bees.
They were always on the way. They never came.
Maybe they're still flying here.
It wouldn't surprise me. And well, maybe they got caught in the other thing we were supposed to be afraid of, the Bermuda Triangle. How about that one?
That was a real threat as well.
Yeah. Well, so we're learning in school that, I don't know, that it was actively hunting us. Like ships and planes would just poof, disappear into the thing. So I thought if I ever got near Miami, I could be a victim and disappear. But it wasn't a maritime mystery. It just, that wasn't what was going to get us. Meanwhile, it was actually the lawn darts my neighbors were throwing like 20 feet from where I was playing. So speaking of darts, actually they were called jarts. Do you remember these?
Of course I remember jarts.
This isn't child's play, according to the Food and Drug Administration. The game is called lawn darts, and it is being exempted from a proposed ban by the FDA.
So let's say this again. We had a toy that was literally a sharpened metal spike with a weighted tip designed to be thrown through the air near children. That was like legal in a toy, and you could buy them at the store.
One child lost an eye, and another required brain surgery after being hit in the skull.
And today the internet seems to claim they're illegal, but I don't think that's true. I don't think they're banned. You can still buy them, but they cost a fortune. But like that was nothing. That was just Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I bet Pirate had jarts if we would have just hung around a little longer with him.
And it would have been perfectly cool to play that at school, right?
Yeah.
Here's the real joke comes in though, right? And I've dug up some audio of this because it's all over YouTube. And it was I don't know if this ran for you out on the West Coast, because it ran all over here on the East Coast. And it was this menacing TV announcer.
It's 10 p.m.
Yes.
Did you have that?
I grew up with that too.
And this wasn't, I think they played it off like a public service announcement to keep us safe. But no. That was a reminder to parents that they actually had kids. Like that's the whole thing. Parents would be there watching TV and eating snacks, and then this would come on.
Do you know where your children are?
And they're like, hey, do you know where your kids are right now? And the parent would be like, oh shit, I've got kids. I forgot. Better check to make sure they're not like dead or arrested. So we'd be out there, riding our bikes around in the dark with no lights on them or anything, reflectors, and visible to traffic. And until somebody remembered we existed. Yeah, the TV station.
Right. And you are correct. It was a PSA. So that's where our parents' tax dollars were going, reminding them that we exist.
And then there was the stranger danger. Do you remember this?
Oh, heck yeah. I was scared.
That was a whole other beast. We had little books and pamphlets about it, and it was like some persistent ambient threat.
You've taught your children to be polite and friendly, but have you taught them when not to be?
Hi there. Do you live around here?
Uh-huh.
You going to school?
Yes.
Well, I could give you a ride.
Last year, 50,000 children disappeared, many of them from nice, safe neighborhoods.
Like every single day. Every day we were warned about strangers in a van, strangers with candy, strangers with a puppy. You know, the message was like relentless. Strangers are everywhere and they want to hurt you.
Talk to your children about not talking to strangers and do it today. A message for your child's safety from the American Medical Association.
All those missing kids on the milk cartons too, bumming out our Frosted Flakes. The struggle was real.
Do they do that anymore?
No. We don't have sad milk anymore.
I remember that. I was lactose intolerant, so the whole thing was just
yeah.
sad.
I have to drink almond milk, and like it's a pretty happy experience actually.
Almond milk doesn't give a shit about missing kids, is what you're saying?
Doesn't care.
But we were paranoid about this, weren't we? Like we took, we had drills, like code words, But meanwhile, we're going into some stranger's garage and taking a sip from their garden hose, and which was not good for us. So even if people think I drank from it, I'm fine. Beg to differ.
You're a little goofy today because of all that hose water. Admit it.
That's us. I mean, did you do the tree climbing thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 50 feet up,
sure.
And then the twigs were breaking, but you weren't brave unless you kept going?
Yeah, you had to keep going. It's like, I don't know how structurally sound it is, and I don't care. I'm going to find out.
That was it. We need to go. Although, if we were also terrified of someone offering us a ride, even if it was someone that our parents might have known or something. Perfect. It's a thunderstorm. It's pouring. It's hailing. One time someone pulls up. You kids need a ride? No, I'm good. I'm going to suffer through this tornado, but I will not get in your car, stranger.
I was walking up to school one day with my same friend, Nina, and guy pulls over and he's like, hey, you want a ride? And we got in his car. God, we're such bad kids. We got in his car.
Oh my God.
I know. We get in. And
you were trained.
Yeah, I know. But I actually said what I was thinking out loud. I said, you're not going to chop us up and light us on fire, are you? He's like, no, I'm just going to drop you off at school. And I said, okay, cool, thanks.
The thing is, too, I was thinking about riding bikes without helmets, that the helmets were for the nerds, right?
Totally. Give me a TBI. I'm cool.
Head first into a tree, whatever. Yeah, and they called it building character. Did you get that too?
Well, in my family, my dad would say, it'll put hair on your chest.
Just what you wanted, Kat.
It's every little girl's dream.
You roller skated a lot, right?
Oh, I was the queen of disco roller skating, yes.
So did you have those skates with like no ankle support and the laces were literally it holding it on?
Yeah, my friends had like the nice expensive roller skates and we got ours from like discount third-hand roller skate mart.
So sure, let's worry about the Bermuda Triangle, not Kat on roller skates breaking her head, right?
Did you ever fall right on your tailbone from your roller skates? You never forget that kind of ouch.
No, you don't. The backyard basically for us growing up was just a death trap. And we thought it was a playground. We had those, those aluminum chairs that would just collapse for no reason? Yeah. And like you would get pinched in it and it would fold you in half like a taco. Yeah, we would just sit in those and our parents would sit there sipping their lemonade, unbothered. Oh, little Darwin's arm got caught. He'll learn.
Yeah, that'll learn him.
You're screaming and bleeding everywhere. And I don't know if you ever did this. My high school, my friends and I, we would just ride, even though I think it was illegal at the time. We'd ride in the back of pickups.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't have a pickup, but my friend's dad had a pickup and we just hop right in. It was like totally normal. There might be a dog with you. There might be like kids you don't know. There could be like any sort of like rakes and gardening supplies. I don't know. We just want to ride in the back. It was fun.
And we stood up too. We didn't even sit down.
Yeah.
Like we were standing, which made it even worse. So we're like one pothole away from becoming a jart ourselves. Just, and out we go. My mom was really good about seatbelts. How about yours?
We never had to wear seatbelts until one day we did. And it was announced, we're now wearing our seatbelts. And I was like, what is this crap? Today, I mean, I'd feel really weird not with my, not having a seatbelt.
My mother was very big because of safety and she wanted to keep us alive and all that. But I had parents who were not so concerned about it. And one time we went somewhere for, I don't know where we're going. And they put 3 of us in the back seat and just pulled one seatbelt over all of us. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do. This 2-person, 1-person seat. I don't know. No regard for
mega
safety.
child belt. That'll keep you all safe.
Despite all of this, somehow we survived. We made it. Most of us anyway. We're here, mostly intact. Probably a little worse for wear, but we're here. But today's kids, I feel bad a little bit, but I don't. Because they're going to never know the pure chaos of just being left outside with lawn darts and no supervision. And honestly, it's probably for the best.
So my parents were silent generation, and the way they raised their kids was obviously different from today. And it's very different from my parenting style.
For example, what?
Sure.
Give me an example.
Okay. I'm 3 years old, and, I'm very introverted. I still am. So to fix this, my mom would kick me out of the house and lock the doors. And I would look through the window, and I could just see her mouthing, "Go play with some kids.
Go away, Catherine. Leave.
Get out of my hair." But here's the really messed up story. When we first moved into our little house in Staten Island, New York, well, I just have to stop and say my parents told this story to whoever came over. It was their go-to.
Oh, yes. My mother had a few of these too.
Right? Holstered, waiting to shoot people with them. We just moved in to our little duplex the day before on Spratt Avenue. And this was the type of neighborhood in Staten Island where all the houses looked the same. So with this story, anytime I would have a new friend over, my mom would whip out this gem. "We just moved in, and Catherine goes out to play. And about 3 hours later, we're having dinner. And a neighbor who we'd never met brings her over and says, 'Is this your daughter?'" So Darwin, go with me here. Okay, I'm missing. My neighbor finds me. They must be a hero, right? Tell the cops I've been found. Nope.
Wait, so you had actually left and
I was
you
gone.
were technically missing.
Yes.
Okay, this was the real deal. It wasn't your mother saying, "Go play." You actually.
No, I
Okay.
wandered off a day after we moved in. So
Oh my God.
here's my parents' big punchline to the story that they loved saying. "And the neighbor brings you in the house and says you didn't recognize where you live. And your father and I laughed and laughed."
So they're having dinner without you. You are missing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, surprised you found it home." Ha ha ha. LOL.
You didn't know where you lived. They told this nightmare story over and over. Every friend of mine heard it.
Well, as you're telling it, I realized one time we had dinner at your house. Your mother cooked for us. And it was the house with all the mirrors that was like a ballet studio. Okay, you know which one.
Yep.
And and I remember she told this story.
She did tell this story, yes. And I got to say, okay, so the last time they told it was when I brought Eric over. Now, he was my then boyfriend, now husband. I brought them over to meet them. And my dad puts on his best voice and he tells the story. And after he dropped the punchline, I finally got up the guts. I looked at him and I said, "Dad, do you know how old I was in the story?" And he goes, "No, I don't know." I was 18 months old when we moved into that house. I was a baby, Dad. And I looked at Eric and he looked horrified. And my dad waved me off and he said, "Hey, you got no sense of humor." And my mom said, "Well, I still think it's a funny story." And that was the last time I ever heard it. Do you know how little an 18-month-old is?
Very tiny, yes. Good God. Well, it's true. They had no idea, like this goes to the whole episode here, right? They had no idea where we were, what we were doing, and they just didn't care, right?
Right, nothing. They had no idea.
Yeah, actually, this one would absolutely horrify me. I don't know if I've ever told my mother this, so if Mom is listening, okay. This is when I was a senior in high school. We decided to go cliff diving. Now, do you know what that is? I think most people
Seems
do.
perfectly reasonable. Yeah.
I mean, the name says it all.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping off a rock into the water, and it's as stupid as it sounds. But you're doing it in secret at 17. So we would trespass, first of all, on this road that ran along the edge of the woods, cutting through this field to this hidden bend in the river. Ooh. And then we would go up. And there was like all these rocks, like a rock cliff, and it was really caked in mud. So if you didn't jump out far enough, you would land on the rocks below. And if you did, you would maybe hit the water. If you did jump out far enough, you would hit the water and you would live to do it again. And we loved it. I mean, you could slide, and the rock kind of had a downward angle where you had to jump off too. So it was extra dangerous.
That means extra fun.
I mean, this was right. And you're 17. You're like, I went up there. I jumped. I mean, Kat, I'm not talking like 20 feet. This was maybe 50, 75 feet up.
Oh my God.
This was not a small jump.
Even
okay.
with my crazy childhood, I'm pretty shocked. Yikes.
Yeah. So, I mean, this could have been broken neck. This could have been anything. And by the way, we had no idea how deep it was either. No idea. So I never when I dove in, I never because you plummet down, I didn't really hit the bottom. So I think it was
I never hit bottom. Perfectly safe.
Yeah, that was our, everyone said you won't feel the bottom. And I wasn't going to go look for it either. So we had no exit strategy. We just went and kind of ran, which makes this even more dangerous to the muddy wood, and just jumped off and hoped, right? But when you're 17, you don't think about the danger. Your brain's not wired for that, right?
What danger?
Hey, you're going to be airborne for 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. and your friends, and your friends are going to cheer.
It'll put hair on your chest. Did you ever go to work with your parents?
So not like a take your kid to work sort of situation, but my mother worked at the appliance store. There was also the Radio Shack. There was also the video store brief time, and then the propane company and several other things. Very small town. I would just go hang out with her at work, and sometimes she liked it, and other times I think it really annoyed her. But I'm going to assume you did.
Yeah, my dad took me. My dad ran a cutting service for the garment industry. It's what his dad did and his dad did way back. And what that is marking and grading patterns. So you're basically preparing cloth so factories could cut a dress design at scale. So he decided to take me to work with him one summer in downtown LA. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to learn the family business. Cool. Now, downtown LA in the 80s was a dangerous toilet full of psychopaths, but it was also lively and interesting and kind of mysterious and fun.
Did you end up learning the family business? Because I've never asked you this.
Yeah, no, not really. My dad just had me make deliveries. So he would load up my arms with bundles of fabric, and he gave me a handwritten map of where to deliver it. So I'd walk the streets of downtown LA, stepping over pews and bums, trying to find my way to my destination with his little hand-scribbled map.
How old were you, though, for real?
8.
With a hand-scribbled map. Oh my God. And but it fits with this whole storyline. You're on your own, kid.
To my mom's credit, she was living. You had a daughter make deliveries walking by herself. My dad's like, it was only 9 blocks.
9 blocks. Oh my God. That's not close either.
No. Darwin, I'm happy you're alive. I am.
I am happy you are alive as well. So our childhoods, we shouldn't be here, but here we all are.
How are we still alive? Hey, thanks for finding Darwin and Cat, Pop Culture Garbage Barge. If you like what you hear, please follow, tell a friend, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps keep this barge afloat. And lately, everybody, I've been so touched by all the nice messages, follows, and the support, and I can't say it enough. We truly, really appreciate you.
Get on the boat and relive the pain. Helmet hair is rising like a hurricane. My cat's my best friend, and so is my bike. I'm chasing radio signals for any signs of life. Pop culture garbage barge, growing up weird made us who we are. Pop culture garbage barge, get on the boat, dork, and bring your emotional scars. garbage barge.